We have a brand new update from the president on the $2,000 stimulus check, or the $2,000 dividend payment, as he likes to call it. And this just came out yesterday in an interview with the New York Times. He told us when we're likely going to see these payments, and he talked about a potential executive order. So let me break this all down for you right here. Now, it's been about 2 months since he first floated this idea. That was back on November 9th when he posted that there would be a dividend of at least $2,000 per person, not including high-income people. Then the very next day, he doubled down and said low and middle-income people would be the ones getting this money. And then a day after that, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, came out and indicated that the income threshold would be around $100,000 or less. So that's who would qualify for this thing. But here's where I need to be 100% fair with you. As of right now, we still do not have the official proposal from the president or from the administration. We don't have the actual parameters that would determine someone's full eligibility. We just know it's based on income. That's what it always comes down to, right? A social security number and your income. That's all they care about. All right, so let me pull out the key details from this New York Times interview that happened yesterday. First thing, the president said he does not need congressional approval to do this. Now, who's going to do it then if he doesn't need Congress? Well, that only leaves one option, an executive order. So he's indicating he could do this through executive order. And you know what? That's still kind of up for debate. It's been up for debate for the last couple months. Some people are saying, yes, he absolutely can do it that way. Other people are saying, no, he absolutely cannot. There's no consensus on this yet. But a lot of the experts are leaning toward, yeah, he probably could do this through executive order. If he really can, and if he really doesn't need congressional approval, that's a huge win for this agenda. If he wants to do this, and if the money is available, which, let's be honest, the money is always available, I'm just going to say this. The federal government has unlimited amounts of money in a certain sense. Now, I know there's been articles and comments saying they don't have any money, and yeah, technically the federal government is $38.5 trillion in debt. So of course they don't have money in the traditional sense. But how do they get money? Well, they get it from tariffs, they get it from income taxes. The list goes on. And honestly, they can just print money if they need to. They have tons of ways to get money. So the federal government is completely broke with $38.5 trillion in debt nationally, but at the same time, they can manufacture money out of thin air whenever they want. I mean, if we all had our own printing press, we'd all say, sure, I'll be in as much debt as I want because I can just print more whenever I need it. That's the ability of the federal government. Amazing lifestyle, right? Anyway, the second key detail from the interview, he said sometime later in the year. Now, no shock whatsoever. We've known this for a very long time. He mentioned this maybe a month or so ago, back in mid-December, in a separate interview. I actually have a video on that right here on the channel, where you can watch him say it yourself. But drop a comment down below. Let's all put our thinking caps on for a second. Why do you think we'd possibly see this toward the end of the year? Maybe mid-October, a little bit right before early November. Does anybody want to take a wild guess on why we might see it around that time? I mean, obviously we could see it any time between now and then. But I had a video out maybe a week or 10 days ago, early in January here. And I said 2026 is the year. If we're going to get this, it's going to happen this year in 2026. If it doesn't happen in 2026, it's not going to happen unless there's a major economic contraction a major recession, and then it would be an economically based stimulus to pump the market and pump the economy. But I said in that video, this is the year. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it in 2026, and it's going to be before November. So we're basically down to the wire here. What's it going to be in the next 10 months? Do we get it or don't we get it? Now drop a comment down below. Just a simple yes or no. Do you think we're actually going to get this $2,000 from the president? Yes, you think we're going to get it. No, you don't think we're going to get it? I'd love to see what you in this community think the probability is. And again, why would any of us suspect we may see it later in the year? That's like the most obvious thing in the world. We all know. And by the way, I'm not making a political video here. All of them do this. All of them. This is nothing against the current administration, nothing against previous administrations. They all do the same thing. It's just how the game works. But if it means they're going to cut us a check, does it mean we might be willing to play along with their little game to get that check? I don't know. You take your pick. Now, here's what I want you to understand. I wouldn't hold them to that timeline too much just yet. If we start to see negativity around approval ratings and things like that, they may need to do something to pump that up before November. If they wait until mid-October, it may be too late at that point. Too many people may already have their minds made up. They may need to do this sooner than that to get people back in a good mood, people happy, people approving of the administration. I'm just saying you've got to think through this logically. If they do this in mid-October, are people at that point so fed up that they've already made up their mind what they're going to do in early November? I don't know. But let me be very clear with you about something important here. This is still not a done deal. This is still just talk until we see an actual executive order signed or until Congress passes something official. And that's what I need you to understand. I've been following Social Security and government benefits for over 30 years, and I've seen this pattern over and over again. A proposal gets floated, people get excited, the president talks about it in interviews, and then nothing happens. Or it gets delayed, or it gets changed completely. So while I'm bringing you these updates, and while this is real information from a real interview with the New York Times, I don't want you sitting around waiting for money that might not come. Because here's what happens when you do that. You stop taking action on things you can actually control right now. You put off applying for programs you're already eligible for. You don't check if you're owed back payments from Social Security. You don't look into whether your Medicare premiums are higher than they should be. I've seen people delay signing up for SNAP benefits, what used to be called food stamps, because they thought a big check was coming and they didn't want to bother with the paperwork. Months go by and they've missed out on hundreds of dollars in grocery assistance they were entitled to. I've seen folks not appeal a denied disability claim because they figured stimulus money would hold them over. That's a permanent mistake that costs them for years. The system already makes it hard enough to get what you're owed. We can't make it harder on ourselves by just waiting and hoping. So here's what I need you to do while we're waiting to see if this $2,000 payment actually happens. First, if you're on Social Security and you didn't get previous stimulus payments from 2020 and 2021, you might still be owed that money. It's called a recovery rebate credit. You have to claim it on a tax return, even if you don't normally file taxes. A lot of seniors don't know this. You can still get it, but you have to file for it. Second, check if you qualify for the Extra Help program for Medicare prescription drug costs. This is a real program available right now that can save you thousands of dollars a year. If your income is below about $23,000 as a single person or $31,000 as a couple, you probably qualify. You apply through Social Security and it's not automatic. Third, look into your state's property tax relief programs if you own a home. Most states have some kind of freeze or exemption for seniors. Some states will defer your property taxes until you sell the home. This is real money you can keep in your pocket every year, but it's not automatic. You have to apply. Fourth, if you're struggling with bills, call 211. That's a national hotline that connects you with local assistance programs, heat assistance, food banks, prescription help, rent assistance. These programs exist, but they don't advertise, so most people don't even know they're there. And fifth, if you're still working part-time or you have a spouse who's working, make sure you understand the Social Security earnings limit. If you're under your full retirement age and collecting Social Security, there's a limit to how much you can earn. For 2025, that limit is just over $23,000. If you go over that, they withhold $1 for every $2 you earn above the limit. A lot of people don't realize this until they get a letter saying they were overpaid and now they owe money back. Don't let that happen to you. Now, I want to be very clear about something else. I'm not saying this $2,000 payment will never happen. Maybe it will. Maybe the president will sign that executive order. Maybe it'll come in October. Maybe sooner. I don't have a crystal ball. But what I do know is this. If and when something gets officially approved, it will be all over the news. You'll hear about it from Social Security directly. You'll see it on official government websites. You won't have to hunt for it or wonder if it's real. Until then, we've got to focus on what we can control. We've got to work together as a community to make sure everyone is getting the benefits they're already entitled to. Because the government is not going to come find you and hand you money you didn't ask for. You know, the system is set up to make you do all the work. They make you apply. They make you prove you qualify. They make you appeal. When they deny you the first time, which they do to a lot of people just to see if you'll give up. But that's exactly why we have to stay informed. That's why we have to share real information with each other. Because when we know how the system actually works, we can work it to our advantage. So here's my advice. Pay attention to these updates. Stay informed about what the president is saying. But don't put your life on hold waiting for something that might not happen, or might not happen for months, or might not happen the way you think it will. Go to the actual government websites, ssa.gov for Social Security, irs.gov for tax credits, benefits.gov for a list of federal programs you might qualify for. Don't rely on random websites or Facebook posts or even YouTube videos. Verify everything, and if you're not comfortable using the internet, call Social Security directly. Yes, you'll be on hold for a while, but talk to an actual person who can look at your record and tell you what you're eligible for right now. We're all in this together. The system isn't designed to help us, but we can help each other by spreading accurate information and making sure nobody in our community is missing out on benefits they've earned. So, to wrap this up, yes, the president gave a new interview to the New York Times yesterday. Yes, he said he doesn't need congressional approval, which means executive order. Yes, he said sometime later this year, probably before November for reasons we all understand. But until we see an official executive order signed, or until Congress passes actual legislation, this is still just talk. Important talk. Interesting talk. But still just talk. In the meantime, don't wait around for money that may or may not come. When there's money sitting there with your name on it that you just have to ask for, take action on the things you can control. File for benefits you're entitled to. Check your Social Security record. Make sure you're getting everything you've earned. Stay informed, stay patient, and take care of each other. And drop that comment down below, yes or no. Do you think we're actually getting this $2,000? I'd love to hear what this community thinks. I'll see you in the next one.